Hi, welcome to this week's astrology report. I am Jody Shirami at astropod_cast. This is for the week of July 18th through July 25th. As we are heading into Leo season, this is the very last days of Cancer season 2025. And July 22nd is when the sun will be shifting into Leo. I want to talk about this week on Wednesday the 16th. There was an earthquake that was very huge. It was a seismic 7.1 in Alaska. It was really a huge earthquake, and it activated more of that volcanic ring of fire in the Pacific. And on that day, Jupiter in Cancer was squared to the Aries moon at 8 degrees. So again, the water world, which is Cancer, and then the Aries moon, which is fire, huge burst of energy, volcanic energy coming out of the core. There's a lot of activity, so be prepared for that. Just keep your eyes out and see what's happening in the world. It's good for us to know what's going on so we can be ready for all kinds of things we don't know. What supply chain, a lot of people getting hurt, we could help somehow. So these are the things that are going to be shaping these next couple of years, maybe possibly 20 more years or 100 years or so. And so today on July 18th, Mercury has stationed retrograde. It began yesterday, and today it is completely retrograde, and it is standing still until tomorrow, when it will start to move backwards a little bit. Mercury is a quick mover. So this Mercury retrograde will be for 3 weeks in Leo. As the sun shifts into Leo in 4 more days, it is a very heightened sun season with the volcanic activity we just spoke about, and all the fires occurring and the floods, with the moon also being activated as Jupiter is in Cancer. The home of the moon is activating all the waterworks. So we are really in it now during this time of fire and water season. But the main planets, outer planets, are in air and fire. So we are going to be dealing with a lot more fire energy coming up here, especially as Uranus just shifts into Gemini, which is an air sign that moves quickly. Mercury is retrograde in Leo at 15 degrees, which is the world access point for a fixed sign. And Leo is a fixed sign. So here we are with Mercury having communication in Leo, meaning they want to speak their truth and stand in their integrity and their sovereignty as a Mercury Leo. And also with Venus in Gemini sextiling Mercury, we are really being given the opportunity to speak clearly from our heart. And even though it may be difficult, Venus here is going to give us some nice ways to speak and say things. As it being in Gemini, our speech will be more clear, and hopefully what we say with the truth coming out isn't so painful and it's not so blunt. It's a little bit more kind and very well said. So the Taurus Moon moves in here on July 19th, and it has a trine, which is a very nice meeting with Mars, who is now in Virgo. And this is a very nice trine. They're having a good time together talking. And the Mars and the moon in Taurus will help us feel a little bit more comfortable with all the cosmic energy that's coming on very strongly. So this will give us some chance, because the moon loves being in Taurus, so this will give us a chance to be a little bit more relaxed and happy in our own skin, so to speak. And then on July the 20th, which is Sunday, the Gemini Moon moves in here and around 7:20 a.m. Eastern Time, and it meets up with Uranus in Gemini, who's having a meeting, a nice sextile with Saturn and Neptune, who is also having a nice trine to Pluto. So this is a very nice configuration that also eases some of the tension we've been feeling the past couple days and weeks and more months to come. This helps us a little bit to make things go over a little bit easier, but because it's so easy, we may forget the lessons and the drama and the communication that is going on around us, to the point of where we miss the cue of understanding that all the things that are out in the world distracting us are for us to kind of integrate into our daily life. So these are the things that we need to be thinking about this weekend, is how they're showing us again into the future. And this is a truly karmic time, because also on this day, Mars in Virgo will be meeting up with the South Node in Virgo. And at the same time, will be opposing the North Node in Pisces. And this is very, very karmic. It is a time of destiny coming in here, but with Mercury retrograde, and it rules over Virgo, which would mean it's ruling over Mars, and the nodes are always retrograde. This just means that we really have a chance, again, during this chaos, that we do want to black out from our own inner happiness, but we still need to see and learn and listen and see what's going on and become aware of our surroundings and the changes that are happening, so that we can also move through these changes with a guided meditative strategy to move us forward. Can't tell what the future is, but you can also wear your seatbelt in the car. Doesn't mean you're going to get in a car accident, but sometimes you do without wearing one, or when you're wearing one. So these are the things that astrology can help us with, is really just to know if you're going to need your umbrella that day or not, if it's going to rain. It's like a forecast. And so the sun, as it enters into Leo on the 22nd, it is preparing right now to go opposite of Pluto. And so starting here on the 20th, with Mars running into the South Node in Virgo, we are releasing things that may be too strict, because Virgo can be very strict. Maybe releasing habits, eating habits, because Virgo rules over food and our stomach. We could be releasing things where we're too servicing others too much instead of taking care of ourselves, which can happen. So there's a lot of things that we could be sitting there looking at over these next couple of days, months, years. But we don't have to do it all right now. It's nothing to be scared about. It's just that little change is going to happen. So when they come at you, you can say, oh yeah, I remember hearing that change was going to happen, and now it's happening to me. So it just depends on where your degrees are in your birth charts to know when things will affect you and how they will affect you and how you can prepare for that. And then on the 21st, Venus is going to square the nodal axis of the South Node in Virgo and the North Node in Pisces. So this is an intense karma, because now we're dealing with Mars running into the South Node, and now Venus is going to be squaring that South Node where Mars is. And now Venus and Mars are also going to be in opposition and in a square because of this. So this is a very powerful, personal, evolutionary time for our values, our desires, our intentions, our actions, and what it is that we want for the next coming years. That is a new cycle of birth, for the earth, and therefore for us, since we are occupants of this earth. So then we head into July 22nd, and that is when the sun at 9:29 a.m. Eastern Time will be entering Leo. And again, Leo is hosting Mercury retrograde right now at about 15 degrees of Leo. And now the sun heads in here. And also earlier during the day at about 8:26 a.m., the Cancer Moon arrives. So what's in Cancer right near there is Jupiter. So the moon moves quickly, is going to move in and go meet up with Jupiter. So here on the 22nd, the sun shifts into Leo right now on the 22nd with the Cancer Moon also aligning with Jupiter. We're going to feel some happiness here, some emotional happiness, some sovereign happiness, being inside of your own body, because that's what Leo represents, your body. And so you're going to be happy emotionally, body-wise, and spiritually. That's on you, but you can be happy also spiritually on this day, because we're heading into a new rebirth for the sun also, because the sun is at its home. So the sun is super happy also, and the moon's in Cancer, the moon's super happy also. But again, in 2 days, the Cancer moon moves into Leo, and we're going to have a new moon. But before that, Mercury, who's shifting back in Leo towards the sun, will also begin its retrograde motion back now towards the sun as it prepares for its retrograde cazimi with the sun. So then on July 23rd, we have the direct perfection conjunction of Mars in Virgo having a square to Venus in Gemini. And so this is the lovers, Mars and Venus, Venus and Mars. They are personal planets. They affect us directly. So here we may have internal fights with ourselves of what it is we want, desire, and how we're going about getting these things we want and desire. And out in the mundane world, we could see it happening with the way the world is going with politics, the way the weather is going, what it is we need to do, and what it is we need to fix will be in conflict with what we desire. Do we need more of this, more of that? Do we need to dig for more things? So these things are going to be going on forever and ever in terms of we have to come to terms with Venus and having integrity and looking at things from the heart and how it can really help us instead of hurting us. And then on July 24th, the new moon in Leo arrives at 3:11 a.m. and it's at 2 degrees and 8 minutes. As soon as it gets in there, the new Leo moon, it's going to oppose Pluto. And then it's going to trine Saturn and Neptune. So this is a yod. And so this is a iron yod, I believe Rick Levine called it. So this is a huge configuration because, again, the Leo moon has to be conjunct the sun when it becomes a new Leo moon. And that occurs on the 24th, 2 days after Leo season has come in here, as Mercury is also retrograde in Leo season. So the new moon, this is a very powerful new moon because of the yod that it's forming already as soon as it shifts into Leo. The moon and the sun together combined is super powerful. These are, again, our personal planets and stars. The sun is a star. This is a very powerful new moon, especially because of all these outer planets being involved. And so now we're getting a sneak peek again into what's going to happen a year from now when the sun comes back here in a year in Leo and has again these oppositions, these sextiles, and these squares to all these outer planets that will still be there, also moving forward next July. So we are really getting a nice little sneak peek in here. So really pay attention this week in a recurring theme that might keep coming up, desire you want, actions you need to take for certain things, and Virgo rules over your health. Like, I know I need to do certain things with my health, and I'm going to really push it this last part of the year coming up, the next half of the year. And then the other part of it is that the new Leo moon starts to separate out from the sun, and as it does that, it has its own little meetups along the way that we'll talk about more as we get to next week when I come back on July 25th. When the moon meets up, as we just spoke about, the new Leo moon starts to shift, and it meets up with Mercury retrograde, who's probably now about 13 degrees, maybe less. It has probably moved back 1 or 2 degrees already, because Mercury's really quick. So what does that mean now? It means, our emotions we just got a lot of information and meetings with these big hula hoopa planets, and met up with the sun too, which is a monthly thing, but still, this one was really, just as almost as powerful as the Cancer new moon was in July. This one was powerful. Well, wow, this was a huge one, and so we're really going to be letting this sink in this week as we head into the week after, into full Leo season. What is it that we're going to see? What is this preview? Is going to continue into Leo season as Mercury retrogrades back there. And we're going to see again some of the things we did when Mercury moved into Leo. So we have a lot of things to review coming up now that we're really in the heat of summer and it's really hot to go outside. And this summer is going to get hotter, and the hurricanes still are on the radar. We're still watching for those. But we've already had so many traumatic things happen with the weather that we still have to make sure we're not desensitized to it, so that we're not prepared when it happens again. And the other thing that's going on that I want to talk about was that these planets, Neptune and Saturn, traveling very close together, as they start to separate out because they're both going retrograde. Saturn is going to head into Pisces in September, but Neptune doesn't get back into Pisces until, I believe, December. And then they're going to move back together again into Aries and meet up at exactly 0 degrees of Aries at the world access point for the cardinal signs. So a lot of stuff that we're seeing as they're moving around, having meetings with Pluto, and Uranus, and Jupiter, and the Sun, and the Moon, and Mercury, Mars, and Venus, on and on and on. And there's also these cosmic asteroids, these dwarf planets we're dealing with, like Lucifer moving into Leo just last week. So, again, it's going to come down to what our willpower, which is Leo season, what our willpower is willing to help our desires, Mars, our intention, Mars, to get what we want, which is Venus, and what we desire. And there's a new twist on the MacBeth prophecy in terms of the MacBeth story. For me, is still running through. MacBeth has now listened to the witches to prophesize that he would be king and how he would be king. And so we can see that out in the real world, how someone has been chosen to be a leader. And now the prophecy is going to be really dissected during this retrograde period of the outer planets and the personal planets. So now we really begin to dissect things, as Pluto's retrograde, now Saturn, now Neptune. And Uranus is moving forward for now, but soon it will also retrograde. And Jupiter will also. And Mercury retrogrades 3 weeks now, and then will retrograde again near the end of the year. So when that retrograde occurs, it will be another time for us to review again before Saturn and Neptune meet up at 0 degrees of Aries on February 20th, 2026. So really think about that. You can look at it as like writing your paper and now editing it and having it be presented in February. You can look at it that way. You can look at it as say, well, I have this many weeks to get myself in shape. You can start strategizing what you're going to eat, how you're going to work out, things like that. If you're thinking about moving like we did last year, you start strategizing about your move and how you're going to get there. All the little steps are going to be needed. What's the overhead charge? What could be your surprise charges? So you got to have money for that. So this is the time, if you want to make that move, really do it, believe in it, and go for it, because it is the time. The universe is here to help you and wants you to succeed. Doesn't want you not to succeed. The universe is not a human, doesn't have feelings and emotions that way. It just produces what it's got to produce with the intention, its energy that it gets from you, and its energy is here to just give you what you want. So I would like to end global warming. So I'm trying to do that through my permaculture. And my new papaya plant I just planted during the new moon last week here, was the top of it got eaten again, probably by the raccoons that live in the neighbor's trees there. It's like her pets. And I don't mind or anything, but so now I just know I have to put up a metal fencing around it so that it can't do it again, because it did it to me last year too. So, but it's probably my fault because I took the basil away from it because it was starting to get too hot out there for the basil, and it stayed away while the basil was there. So I'm going to just plant the basil next to it this time, and it will work better. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I'll be back next week on the 25th of July, as we would be in 3 days into Leo. And again, we're going to talk about that Mercury retrograding into the sun, the cazimi that's going to occur, and how it's going to impact all of us with our evolutionary ideas. Okay, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Take care.